Hello and welcome to this week's episode of GIANT's Healthy Innovators TV. My name is Barry Shrier and I'm your host. What we do every week is we'd love to bring together some of the world's leaders, people that are really dynamic innovators in healthcare, technology, and innovation. We're proud to bring you Mel Nickey from the Embody Collective. Hello, Mel. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, doing very well. Thank you. Really glad to have you on board this episode. So thanks for joining us and we're grateful for your time.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Excellent. So before we begin, I just wanted to say thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Vodafone. Thank you to McKinsey, Barclays Bank International, and Eli Lilly. We're grateful for your support and we love working with you guys. I'd also like to say that the Giant Health event this year is in December. Reminder to all of our listeners from around the world to go to our website, www.giant.health, where we invite you to engage with us. We're a global community now of nearly 250,000 people, everybody whose business is healthcare, technology, and innovation. So we'd love to hear from you. So again, this week we have Mel Nickey from the Embody Collective. Mel, I'd love to ask you just to share with us a little bit about your background and if you can tell us about how you got to where you are. Our listeners really love to hear about the exciting stories from successful, dynamic entrepreneurs like you who've done great stuff in healthcare. So again, if you don't mind, if you could just begin with maybe a little bit of background.
Sure. So like a lot of entrepreneurs, I felt the problem and had, set out to kind of fix an issue that I had with the world. So way back in 1994, I moved to the UK from South Africa and fell pregnant. I was newly married. And when I went to my GP to ask about a million different questions that I had about my health and my fitness and my wellness, and primarily around my fitness because there wasn't a lot of information about at that time. And
Right.
I'm a fitness trainer. So I had all these questions and I was faced with not a lot of information back from my GP, who actually told me to sit on the sofa and eat biscuits and everything would be okay. I was completely horrified.
Yes.
And, kind of response to my questions. And
Sure.
no offense to the GP, but I think that, there was this huge gap in information about fitness, nutrition, and wellness in pregnancy. And it's not only sort of on the stay out of hospital kind of thing, but more about how do I optimize my health and my wellness and have the most healthiest pregnancy, healthy, happy baby, healthy, happy mom. That's really what I wanted. So
Yes.
I set about trying to understand where I could get more information. I mean, these are the days of dial-up, so it was quite laborious trying to find information.
Sure.
And there were a few books out, but I really couldn't find exactly what I needed. So I hopped on a plane and I went to the US while I was pregnant to do a course with Dr. James Clapp, or Professor James Clapp actually, who was doing the first kind of research into how the fetus responds physiologically to exercise and oxygen and things like that. So it was really, at the time, super innovative. Of course, my family were completely horrified that I was flying all over the world and doing fitness courses, but it was very much theory based as well. So when I came back, I kind of formulated a way of exercising and staying healthy and well, did a ton of research as much as I could, and I kind of created a program that I was starting to live. And then very soon I was asked to, to speak on this. And then I got a book deal and I was being flown all over the world to do speaking gigs about this. And we're talking about sort of the late 90s where there really wasn't that much information around.
Sure.
Essentially, I kind of created this business, which was a personal training business based on the need for women to understand more about their bodies and how their hormones affect everything in their lives. So it was the mental side as well. And I'm a sports psychologist. So I have that as my background. Plus, I've always been an athlete and I was a personal trainer as well. So all of those things combined, and I had this desire to keep healthy and well physically, mentally, and with my nutrition as a tool, as well as my fitness and my mental health. Yes. So put all those things together and I created Baby to Body as a fitness program I ran that for about 15 years while I was bringing up my kids. Was really successful. I had, hundreds of women in London coming to classes. I sold franchises of it. I had like trainers that I trained. And then in 2000, kind of 11 and 12, I took a step back and I thought, I'm helping hundreds of women, but what happens if I could help millions of women?
Right.
And I got really excited about how
from one to one to one to many, the scalability.
Exactly. And so I was kind of thinking about, what this would mean. And one day I got a request on LinkedIn from a headhunter, and he had a proposal for me to join Philips in Amsterdam. In their consumer healthcare innovation. Okay. And I thought this is a great opportunity for me to take a step back from the business as I had been running it for a while and really learn about technology, because technology for me was the way to get to many, right, and to scale.
Yes, absolutely.
So 2 years at Philips, which was amazing, super frustrating in lots of ways because I couldn't move anything. It's like working for a corporate after you've been your own boss for a long time is it's exhilarating because you can have much more of an impact, but you can't get as much done and in the amount of time that you can do. So I had an amazing time, loved Amsterdam. I was flying up and down and I was doing incredible things, and I learned a huge amount about technology. But I realized that nobody was addressing the need of women, right, to understand their hormonal profiles and understand how to maximize and optimize their lives. So I left a very lucrative job, gave up everything, came back to London, and set up Baby to Body as a digital platform. And that was in the end of 2015. We launched the app in 2018. Wow. And haven't looked back since. And it's been the most incredible journey. And now we're on to the next phase of our development. Which is looking at, we've helped 2.5 million women through conception, pregnancy, and postpartum. But now I'm getting to the point where, okay, my kids are older, and what is the next phase of life? And that is when your hormones really start going out of whack, and all kinds of things start happening, and that's through the perimenopause and the menopause. And the first millennials are now 40, which means that they're going to go through the perimenopause. And I think millennials have a very different way of addressing their own health and well-being needs than kind of Gen X, right? They're much on top of things. So we've developed a new brand called Embody, which is going to sit next to Baby to Body as a sister brand. And we've just launched the app a few weeks ago. It's in its kind of MVP stage. But the initial response has been incredible. It's, we are creating that platform that women can access, get science-backed guidance, information based on their particular profile. So not based on some generic, kind textbook of study that was done, 20 years ago. If it was done on women, that's lucky because most aren't. But really understand what's going on with them. And personalized to their stage, who they are, and kind of just to unlock all of those secrets. And the hormonal superpowers, which I think they are superpowers.
Absolutely. No, for sure.
To live better.
Congratulations on this. I mean, it's an incredibly inspiring and impressive story. Very keen to hear a lot more about Embody. But before we go to that, if you don't mind, a little bit more about the origin story. This comes up a lot, and I think this is so interesting how you had a personal experience, personal requirements. You pursued that for your own benefit, and then you realized that there was, that there was demand out there that other people were asking. Was that a challenge for you, or did that come naturally, going from, I'm learning about this because it's a requirement for me, I'm curious, I want this for myself, to, wow, everyone else is also really interested. There's a commercial opportunity, because that wasn't the original thought, was it? You weren't saying, look, I want to start a business. What should I start my business in? Oh, maybe I should do it in this. Do you get me?
Yeah. So I think, This is my third business.
Oh,
So I've
okay.
always been an entrepreneur. I had my first business when I was 23, and I sold it when I was 25
Wow.
in South Africa. So I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and my dad is a huge influence in my life, and he's an entrepreneur, like a serial entrepreneur. He's had so many businesses, all very successful, and I think there's that mix of looking for a solution to a problem, but then
Right.
identifying that actually this could be scaled and this is a problem that other people are experiencing as well.
Okay.
So I think the fact that, I was a sports psychologist and a personal trainer, and I had a nutrition qualification, I was able to see the market for what it was, but then
Right.
also put myself in that position of saying, okay, I am one of these people who potentially could, get a lot from this product, and are there more people like me? And look,
Yes.
it wasn't like a done deal, like, oh, I'm just going to do this. I went through a series of kind of steps to understand what the market was like, especially when I did the digital business. That was an interesting journey, actually, because I applied for an Innovate UK grant.
Okay.
And in order to get the grant, it was £25,000. And in order to get
Nice.
that grant, what I needed to do was to undertake to do a lot of testing and evaluating of the market. So in a way, that gave me that kind of discipline.
Nice.
Because I had to give these reports in, and I had to do it in those steps. Because I'm an
Yes.
entrepreneur by heart, I would have just gone for it, right? I'm like, I know this is a problem. I'm going to go and fix it,
Brilliant.
and not go through all of those steps. So I think that was a really good thing.
Nice.
And then I had to get matched funding, so that meant I had to get like private money as well to match funding. So yeah, I was a big fan of that process, and I think that process helped me to be more sort of analytical and qualitative about and quantitative about what I was doing, and to really understand what is the gap that I'm addressing, what is the market size, how much does that equate to, what is the potential of the market, all of those questions that as an entrepreneur you kind of like, they're here somewhere out of your head, and I'll get to them at some point. Let me
Exactly.
just problem today.
Exactly.
It made me so much more disciplined, and it was really a really, really good thing.
Nice. Excellent. No, that's very interesting. And I think that resonates with a lot of entrepreneurs that we speak to. So good to get that confirmation. Again, really keen to hear about Embody. But just before we get to that, tell us about your members and, with the journey that you've gone through, which is so impressive and interesting with the baby to body proposition. Any anecdotes or any stories or any feedback from your members that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so when I'm having a tough day, I like to look at the emails that we get from our users and our members. We call them our members. And honestly, it's just so unbelievably heartening and wonderful, and just really makes me smile and really gets me through the tough days. We've had people send us messages, thank you letters, thank you cards. I mean, we've got so many. I think we've got over 3,000 or 4,000 5-star reviews in the App Store. Wow. And generally when we get a bad review, it's about the tech and not about the content and the approach and everything. Yeah, tech.
Yes.
It's always tech that lets you down.
Excellent. Oh no, that's superb. Is it? Are they grateful because the learning that is available, the consolidation of the information, is that the core of it?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. So on social media, we've got an amazing community. So I think there's like 350,000, but women are very, they're very welcoming and also very supportive. Okay. And we have we are true to our values. Our values are, grace, joy, trust, wisdom, and passion. And we make sure that we bring that to everything that we do. And we're science-backed and no nonsense. So it's not the fluff and it's not pasted, everything and looks amazing and pretty. It's quite real and authentic.
Yes.
And I think that authenticity has really resonated with our audience. So we get, so many thank you letters. I mean, one we got the other day was, thank you for making the most magical experience even more magical. Which that literally, I want to put that in lights. If we had an office, I'd put it in the office. But there's so many like that, that, it's support, it's that credibility and that trustworthiness. And I think that's one of the things that I've been so unbelievably pedantic about, making sure that every single thing we do can be backed by science. So we don't have anyone who's like, oh, this is wrong, or this is we have one person on team whose only job it is to research every single thing that we put out.
Wow.
So she triple checks every single thing, and that's her job. And I'm really proud of that. And actually, so a couple of weeks ago, we were doing a big partnership with a big consumer goods company. And we had to kind of like survey our users, our members, and we asked, what is the one thing that separates us from any other brand? And they all said credibility and trustworthiness. So for me, it's huge. Yeah. The fact that people trust us and we can support them through this most amazing journey of becoming a mother. Yes. Massive.
Yeah. No, that's outstanding. And once again, congratulations. That's so impressive, especially, I know this is obvious, but especially in the world of crazy information overload, and in a world where trust seems to be not necessarily going in the right direction regarding social media and connectivity and challenges like that. So that's so impressive and valuable. I can imagine that's a core thing and attraction for your members.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. And I think, I'm very proud of that. And I keep telling my team that to be able to do that in a very crowded space.
Yes.
And there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of influencers who, will go into social media and say, oh, this is what you should be doing. But really, who are these people? What is their background? And also the other part is that what we do is we make everything relevant for each member. So each member has a unique experience.
Yes.
So it will be absolutely personalized to them. Perfect. So we take into consideration a whole bunch of data points, and it's data led. So it's not just, kind of deciding, okay, well, we're just going to give you this workout just because, that's the workout of the week. Everything is literally personalized. So we take all that kind of hassle out of it as well. So they don't have to worry about it. They just come to us. They get all of their nutritional needs. We have weekly and daily meal plans. We've got recipes. We've got like how to optimize your nutrition for your baby or for conception or postpartum. And then we do the same on their mental health.
Yes.
So we're the first app to really look at mental wellness and mental fitness for mothers. Nice. And help women to kind of get that mental fitness and understand how to keep that mental fitness going throughout that whole process. And like, let's face it, as a new mom, it's tough.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, you're exhausted most of the time, and you're faced with having to look after another tiny human, changes in work status, changes in your relationship. Through the pandemic as well, we've had so many women reach out. It's been really incredible, but also really heartwarming to see that we played a role in supporting them mentally.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's extremely gratifying.
And then we've got the fitness side as well, of course, which is all their fitness requirements. And then we track the growth of the baby, and we help them to understand like how big the baby is, what's happening with the baby, and then get them ready for the birth. And then postpartum, it's a whole new program as well. So we've got a really, really strong postpartum program, helping women to come to terms with being a mom, psychologically, emotionally, dealing with the baby blues, relationship changes, and then physically, getting enough sleep, coping with the baby, how to connect with the baby, and then also fitness wise, so getting stronger again and recovery.
Yes, absolutely superb. It's so attractive to have all of that. I don't know. I mean, I know one-stop shop might be a bit of a facile phrase, but the vibe I get is that is in and of itself a really important element of the proposition, and that's very attractive.
Yeah, because it's all pillars of the same thing. It's like I often say, it's like having a stool with 3 legs, right? You can't sit on one of them. You can't sit on 2. You need 3, and you need your mental fitness, your physical fitness, and your nutrition. And that is really what a human being is made up of, all of those 3 elements. And they're so key, and they're so interlinked as well. So you can't just work on your fitness and forget about your nutrition and your mental health. It really needs to work together to optimize your health and wellness and happiness.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, look, very, very interesting. And thanks again for sharing. Now, love to hear more about the whole Embody proposition. Did that have kind of similar origins to the first, what do you want to call it, the first product set or the first phase of?
Exactly. So I'm now my kids are a little bit older and they're young adults. And, I was reaching this age where I know that, I knew intellectually and academically that estrogen starts depleting and dropping, and you don't make as much estrogen in your body sort of in your late 30s, early 40s, and it really starts declining. And then I started reading quite a lot about what that means for your body, which is cognitive decline, essentially, kind of putting you at risk for Alzheimer's and dementia, also putting you at risk for cardiovascular disease and hypertension. And I just thought, why is nobody telling us about this? This is crazy. And the more I read and the more I researched, the more I realized that we didn't know anything. And then I started talking to a lot of my friends who are at that similar stage. Nobody knew anything. It was like this black box of
Why is that? Because it doesn't make sense.
Mystery. It was because it goes into the menopause, and the menopause has essentially been this negative connotation of aging and women fading into the background. And it's literally not on. It's not true. I mean, if you look at all the most beautiful sort of actresses and models now, they're in their late 40s and early 50s. I mean, look at J-Lo, look at Beyonce, look at, Serena Williams. You've got your athletes, your actresses, people are in the prime of their lives. Michelle Obama, she's not fading anywhere. She's not going anywhere. Kamala Harris, like you name it, these women are owning the world. And I just thought, how sad is that all of these women are powerhouses, but yet society is not recognizing that actually there's a physiological thing that is happening to them that could affect the way that they are and their performance. And, surely we should bring that out and start talking about it. So I started talking to a lot of people about this, my friends, just acquaintances, people in the industry. And there was this huge amount of kind of mystery and shame, secrecy. And I thought, this is not on. Like, we can do something about this, and I can do something about this. And then when I looked at the numbers, there's something like 1 billion women every day between the ages of like 38 and 60 who are suffering with kind of some kind of perimenopause or menopausal symptom.
1 billion?
Every day, 1 billion women.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, as much as Baby to Body is amazing and we've got, 2.5 million women, all of those women are going to become, part of the perimenopause in the next 5 years. Sure. So we need to help them. We need to help them tackle the next part of their lives, just as we've done with Baby to Body. So we launched Embody in January, and it's been amazing. We've had people writing to us and saying, "Oh, thank you."
Wow.
At last, someone's actually addressing this. And I think, there's a lot of noise about menopause. I think there was Menopause Awareness Month. I think it was in November, December, and this month, actually in March, there's another campaign about menopause, and it's certainly being put on the map. But in terms of somebody bringing out a product and a platform that actually helps women using data and using science, that's what we're doing. So as much as there's a lot of talk about it, which is amazing, and the awareness is so much more than it was 6-8 months ago, 3 years ago.
Yes.
We are going to be owning that whole space, helping content creators and people who have expertise in different areas to bring something to market. And we will be curating all of this and basing everything on data. So each member of our community will get her program that is bespoke to her.
Cool.
And it's based on data.
Yeah.
So
superb.
That's Embody.
How did you come up with the name?
Oh, well, it was a lot of back and forth, but we decided that, what we wanted to do was to empower people, to help them embody their own powers and enlighten them. And so it's, we came up with Embody, which
Yep.
was kind of all of those things wrapped up in one. And
Nice.
it's about embodying all of those amazing powers that women have.
Exactly.
And become the best you can. So,
Yes. Yeah.
so some people think it's named after me. It's actually not. My first name, it just happens to be with an M, but it's not. It's about embodying all of the amazing kind of superpowers that women have as their hormones. So as much as,
Exactly.
Estrogen depletes, we're amazing creatures, and we can actually, by having the right supplements, by doing the right exercise, by keep working on our mental health, we can actually help that situation and avoid the symptoms and enhance our mental capacity and our cognitive ability, the ability to deal with stress, all of those things, and those are learned behaviors.
Exactly. Nice. And I love the superpowers, what do you want to call it, reference, because it's really inspiring, isn't it? And quite accurate, though, as well. So that's really cool. How about plans for the future? Where do you see the business, say, for example, 5 years from now? Are you looking for the quintessential entrepreneurial exit, or not necessarily?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been approached before, and I'm sure that'll come around again. I think there's a lot more that we can do before we have that exit. But yeah, I would certainly, entertain conversations about it. But I think, there's a huge amount that we want to do. We're bringing out a range of supplements.
Oh, wow.
That are personalized as well for Embody and also for Baby to Body. So that will be on the cards for next year.
Exciting.
Yeah, we first got to get through, some kind of little hurdles, like a fundraise at some point. But we're heads down at the moment, building Embody and continuing to grow Baby to Body, and yeah, it's great.
Nice.
And we came through the pandemic. Okay.
Well, exactly.
We were able to give a lot of help to a lot of people, so that was
brilliant.
It was a really nice thing to do. Yeah.
Brilliant. How about some of your business partners and what do you want to call it? Colleagues or associates, not the people within the company, but for example, investors or other types of partners. Anything to share to with our audience about them?
Yeah, so I think it's always important to pick your investors carefully. You can't divorce them. Like you can if you pick a partner, it doesn't work out.
Yes.
So I think, it's always a good thing. I think what I've realized is that, the kinds of investors you need for an early stage business are not necessarily the kinds you need for a later stage business. So it's good to bear that in mind when you're doing your early stage fundraising as well. How deep their pockets are and how willing they are to support you all the way through. I think that we're very blessed and very lucky, and I'm super grateful to be in London. I think there's amazing programs, there's networks that are fantastic to help you and support you. I think, the EIS and the SEIS is a really good thing. I think there's, so I'm a member of ICE, which is an entrepreneurs and investors community. And that's been a godsend, really, because
interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of peer support. And then I also was part of the London and Partners, which is the mayor's program, the Go to Go program. Yeah, and I'm an ambassador for them, and they've got an alumni network, which is gold.
Yes,
it really is wonderful.
No, that's extremely
interesting.
To have
those people, that are going through the same thing as you, I think that peer network is just so key.
Sure.
And to share war stories, because, I'm sure that the problems I'm facing today, someone else has gone through.
Exactly.
And, learned a lot. And I'm going to make the mistakes that I'm going to make. I don't want to make the mistakes that I can learn from.
Exactly.
definitely not again, right?
No, that's a very, very good point. We've had loads and loads of conversations with founders and entrepreneurs, and this theme of networking, in fact, hasn't come up so much in conversation. But I think, from my own personal experience, I agree with you 100%. And those types of collaborations with people that have shared experience is absolutely invaluable. And anything we can do not to make the mistakes that other people have made following similar paths to us is incredibly useful, isn't it?
Well, chances are we're going to make them, but differently, right?
Absolutely. Mel, you are very inspiring, and you're also a real role model. Do you have anything you want to share with younger people that are thinking about, for example, we come across hundreds and hundreds of young doctors that are wondering, should I go for a whole career as a clinician? Should I blend a career as a clinician with business? Should I do an entrepreneurial thing? And likewise, an awful lot of young women coming out of engineering and business school. And they all have the same, fears, which are natural, and we all had them when we were that age about, do I need to do a couple of years as a management consultant over at Bain before I launch my entrepreneurial career? What about all the risks regarding my reputation of launching a business and the likelihood of it going bust? What kind of things would you like to share with young people that have those fears?
Well, I think that each person's situation is very different, right? And I think your appetite for risk, everybody has a different appetite for risk. It also depends what your personal financial situation is and how much you can lose. I will say one thing, though, that I think I want to focus on not so much the younger people, but actually older people. So I get asked all the time about younger people. There's a lot of people talking to younger people about what to do, but older people, not so much. So I'd like to change that question,
cool.
Barry, if I can.
Cool.
And make it more about older people. So I started my tech business at the age of 50. And, when I tell people that, they're astounded. And I think that is more about what my message needs to be, is that, you can always reinvent yourself. You can always do something that is eating you up, and if you feel strongly enough about fixing that problem for the world, and if it's valuable for the world. So I think it's one thing wanting to do something, but it's another thing actually having the experience and the ability to look at something for what it is, right, and be completely sort of unemotional about looking at the opportunity. And
nice.
And read the data. So if the data is telling you that this is not going to work because people aren't going to pay for it, or there's too many people in the market, or this whatever other reason, then actually don't do it, or find something else to do. Yes. But I think it's that sort of balance of being completely passionate about something and wanting to do something and bringing your whole self to it, and also bringing all of your experience and your world experience, life experience, business experience to it. I think is super valuable for the ecosystem.
Nice.
But equally, it's about looking at the data, right, and understanding the data in a very, dispassionate way, and saying, right, like, is this something that actually could fly? And then trying it out. And, you don't win anything if you don't get in the race.
Yes.
So,
yeah, very, very true. And a great message. Well, look, I wish we were in a beer garden in a nice pub in London, and we could buy another pint and continue this conversation, because this has been extremely interesting. And I found it personally extremely emotionally rewarding, because you're so inspirational. But Mel, thank you very much. I'm so sorry we've run out of time. Anything you want to ask of our community? We are an international community of healthcare and tech and innovation people. Are you guys fundraising, or any final asks or comments you'd like to share about you and Body Collective?
Sure. So we will be fundraising soon. Always what we want is we want partners. We want people to work with, so we can bring more health and happiness to more women. Our aim is to get 1 billion women happier and healthier in the next 5 years. So we've got a lot of work to do. So nice. And then also, we've got social media that we post a lot. We have a huge amount of content. We've got a YouTube channel, and there's a lot out there, and just pass the message on, and that's totally free, and it just helps women. So Baby Body Official on Instagram. You can follow me, melinda.nikki on Instagram. and also Embody Official on Instagram. So
excellent.
Thank
And the website address?
So we've got baby2body.com, embody.health with an M, and the Body Collective.
Yes.
.group.
Superb. Fabulous. Mel, how good to speak with you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Very,
Thank you so much for having
impressive
me.
what you've accomplished. We love your focus and your drive and your passion to help a very, very large number of people who need that help and deserve it. So once again, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Okay, well, once again, this has been this week's episode of GIANT Healthy Innovators TV. We'd like to thank our sponsors. We'd like to thank all of our partners and our media partners. If you're interested in learning more, please go to our website, www.giant.health. Coming up in May is European Health Tech Innovation Week. We invite everybody to join us there. Lastly, we'd love to thank you, Mel, and everybody at the Body Collective. Really, really successful organization, very inspiring, and congratulations what you accomplished. Hope to see you again sometime in the near future. Thank you, everyone.